Hello and welcome to the show. I am here today starting work on, well, my favourite car in the world, the Shelby Daytona that I was very lucky to happen to find while wandering around a junkyard. Yeah, this one cost me $500,000 in the, well, condition that it is currently in. I am very curious to see how much this is going to be worth when I finish it off. As much as I don't want to sell it because it's a Daytona, I equally know that this is going to be worth an absolutely huge amount of money, which means if we do happen to find a McLaren again at some point, we might actually be able to buy the damn thing. Let's go and move that over there. We'll do this kind of easy. Oh, that's the toolbox, not the interior. That's the interior kit. I'm kind of just going to do this stuff and see how much of a price increase we get with this. So use equipment on that. Is a grey Daytona, which is strange, but there we go. And now the vehicle is going to be... Whoa! Oh my god. $1.5 million, and it's still essentially the bare bones. Yeah, we might actually be able to afford a McLaren if we happen to come across one. So, yeah, let's go and get it. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on a second. The headlights are part of, like, the front. Oh, okay. So when I take it off, it all comes off. That's quite cool, though. Well, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to behave itself when I did that, but it kind of behaved as you would want it to. Right, let's get the bodywork. Let's get the bodywork off. I think we've already got the tail light. Is the only other thing we have to get off the damn vehicle. Cool. Right, we will scoop you up. Now, as I said last time, the way that I'm going to be building this car, there are going to be certain bits that I'm going to have to, of course, buy from the store, marketplace, whatever you want to call it. So, of course, we've got these bits here are bodywork as well, aren't they? The custom exhaust works on it. Does it have the other side? No, it doesn't. There are going to be some bits here I'm going to have to buy. I'm not going to find another Daytona as a donor car. Well, I say I'm not going to. I guess I perhaps could, but it would take me an awful lot of searching, considering the amount of junkyard trips I have done and have only just come across this one. It'll take a lot of junkyard searching to get another one. So yeah, I'm not doing this as a solely donor car build, but we do have the Luxor Bowen over there, the big old boat that we can steal certainly engine bits from. Bodywork wise, yeah, we're not going to be able to get much from it, and I think kind of running gear wise, the suspension on this is ancient, and it might have the same front suspension bits. Yeah, it does. So we might be able to steal some bits from it, but yeah, it's going to mostly be engine wise. This has got a slightly lesser engine than the Shelby, as you can imagine, but we can still use a lot of, certainly the lower end parts we can use from it. I mean, this one's a single carb one, this one's a two carb one, but a fair bit, oh, I've got to do the gearbox, of course, a fair bit of the engine will be borrowable, stealable. I've also, thankfully, got the Repair Anything mod back installed. Okay, this guy's got like a solid underneath. I think that's the first vehicle that I've worked on that does that, but there we go. We don't have the big old ghost cloud that we had with the Skyline when we were working on that. Right, gearbox, you can come up. It's actually quite nice to work on a V8. Having worked on about 3 i6s in a row, it is quite quite nice to have a V8 to play around with. I've also got all sorts of various, I don't want to take it up all of that because I can actually do that from the engine stand. Never mind. I've actually got a fair amount of bits and pieces from the previous build now that I have been able to repair that I couldn't repair previously. So we should have a fair few components. Not have to buy too much for this. Well, for this car in general. The big expensive bits are going to be kind of bodywork parts. Also, did I spot? Ah, okay. So that does right. The exhausts for this are going to be a kind of. Yeah, to get the exhausts looking like they should on this car, it's kind of all engine parts, which, yeah, it's fine. It works. It works. At the end of the day, you know, the bodywork, well, a lot of the, I guess the sort of the front fenders come with a hood and so on. It's, yeah, because they're making cars looking different ways than they were initially intended to. It works, much like we saw with the Delahaye and having the boot and trunk and doors and so on. It kind of worked around in different manners. using what you've got to play with. I keep forgetting I need to stick the car up into the air, because otherwise it's a real nightmare to work on. Oh, I forgot to take out the brake servo. At some point, I will be efficient, and I will be... however many videos, however many hours I have spent on this game, at some point I will remember to take all of the bits out that I can when the car's down before putting it up in the air, so we don't have to play them many times up and down on the lifter. That point is not going to be today. It's also not going to be tomorrow. It'll probably be about the time the next Car Mechanic Simulator comes out, and then we'll have to do things in a different way again. So, yeah. Oh, sway bar, end link, that's what's holding that back. As far as ease of rebuild goes, this Daytona is not going to be the quickest of cars that I've worked on. In fact, it might be one of the more technically demanding. It's all stuff I've done before, perhaps the more time-consuming. See, the old V8 overhead valve engines are slightly more fiddly in some ways to build. You've got to worry about the individual valves, the push rods, there we go, not the actual valves themselves, thank God, but the individual push rods and so on. It's not difficult, it's just a lot of the same kind of clicking around. However, normally the plus point with cars like that, the cars that have those engines, things like the Luxor that's behind us, is that they are pretty damn simple in the old suspension department. But this, being a classic racer, is not simple in the suspension department. It's got, well, as complicated a suspension as these cars get, really. So, yeah, this one's going to be a little bit more of a, say a fav. It's going to take a little bit longer to get the rebuild, but when it is done, it's going to be worth silly, silly amounts of money, which is nice. I'm glad when I did come across this car at a junkyard that I actually did have enough to buy it. I'm kind of scared. In fact, as I'm kind of scared, seeing how much this is now worth just from repairing the body frame makes me suspect that that's why the McLaren was so expensive. When you find cars in a barn find, like the body and the body panels tend to be in pretty damn good condition, and that's where a lot of the money, a lot of the value in these mod cars is worked in. By having those parts worth more money, it ups their value closer to, you know, what the real life equivalent and so on would be. So with that McLaren, that probably had very, very good condition body. Yeah, the engine was buggered and it was missing some parts, but it had very good condition body, which is why we saw with the Delahaye that that one was it cost, I think, about 135 grand, and I sold it for about 245. I made a profit, but because the car is in pretty, the body frame itself is in pretty good condition to start with, you don't make as big. Whereas when you find it in a junkyard, it's missing most of the bodywork and the chassis itself is all rusted to hell, it's worth considerably less. Hence how we afforded, you know, the Shelby. Yeah, it's $500,000. It's not exactly cheap, but we've made money just by doing $1,000 weld. So it's the kind of the way the game works, and that's okay with me to an extent. We're going to make money, and I'm going to get to work on my favouriteest of cars. So, I'm fine. I'm in general, I'm fine. Slightly sad we missed out on that McLaren. I'm sure we will come across one another day. Quite what day that might be, I don't know. I've just noticed we have leveled up, I think, in tearing this car apart, which will mean that I'll have another barn find. We might have to take a trip to that, see what there is. I love exploring. Like, I know I'm not going to find anything massively exciting in the barn find, or might not find anything massively exciting in the barn find. It's just fun going around and having a look. It's just, yeah. It's a difficult one to explain. It's just relaxing. Car Mechanic Simulator in general is a fairly relaxing game. Like, I've built enough cars to know what I'm doing with most of these. But it's just kind of good fun messing around and getting vehicles, you know, that were in terrible condition. I'm liking just, you know, the bare shell of the Daytona, and now that we've got it fixed up, it's only a couple of buttons you press, but it's still quite rewarding, and certainly when it all comes together at the end. For now, though, we must actually, no, let's not do the spam click. Let's go take the engine apart as well. How many bits do we have on? I've got more on this engine than I was kind of fearing. I think a lot of them are completely buggered, though. Oh, I'm surprised, actually. That looked like that was going to be about a 3% condition for that part. Yeah, that's screwed up. We have a single valve push rod. Oh no, we've got two more over here. Amazing work. Oh wow, we've got a rocker arm. What is this? There is a rocker arm on my junk engine. That is unusual. Are we going to have any decent condition engine head? Probably not. It's terrible condition, but it is repairable. Again, I can steal the engine heads from the Luxor. I might be able to steal a carburetor. Oh, that one there is buggered, so that one's not going to be repairable. We're going to have the game of how many bearings do we have. So far, 0 for 4. Any over this side? I should probably turn the engine up. Be easier if you're going to let me. Right, turn the engine over. Well, that's gone the wrong way, but never mind. Keep going. That'll do. How are we going to have any bearings from this side? And nope, 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 and nope. Not a single bearing has been found. Again, good thing about the Luxor, came from a junkyard, which means... Ooh, does the crankshaft have a bearing? The crankshaft might actually have a bearing. What is this? Because I can't just take it straight out. Oh, okay, never mind. It does have timing covers on this side. Didn't realise we had a timing cover on. That would explain why. Yeah, the Luxor being a barn find car rather than a general junkyard will have more bits. I might actually be able to get some bearings out of it. And camshaft off, and then engine block. Oh, can't even start work on the engine because the block's buggered. Well, I guess we're... Oh, I can't rip... I can't... Well, I can take the engine out of this, but I can't put it on the stand because the stand's already got me working on something. Oh, piss. Right, so I guess we're ripping this engine apart. Now, is that a 4? It is a 4-barrel carburetor, so we can use this one as the second carburetor. We just don't have the intake manifold to go with it. But the rest of it, we've even got head covers and so on this engine. I think we stole the clips for the hot rod, didn't we? Oh, what a shame. We're going to buy those pesky clips. There's a couple of bits in this that are... you know, of course, we're going to have... In fact, hold on a second. If these have got engine covers on both sides, that means it must have... all of these! This might be the first... yeah, again, as I said, it's a barn find car, sure, but even then, this is probably the first time I have found so much in the way of bits. What is this? In fact, is it going to have a full supply of spark plugs for me as well? And because all of these are just about in enough condition, I might break a couple when repairing them, but it will means I'll only need to buy a couple of rocker arms or a couple of push rods. This was a worthwhile buy. It was a very worthwhile buy. It's going to have bits go into 4 or 5 different... Well, not 4 or 5 different cars. It's got in the hot rod. Did we borrow it for anything else? We might have done. I'm not sure. But it's got the hot rod working. That's the entire point of buying this, was to get the hot rod working. And it's a happy coincidence that the incredibly, incredibly valuable Shelby is going to borrow bits of engine from the big boat. Yeah, I mean, Shelby, legendary race car. Never quite beat the Ferraris at Le Mans, but got close and beat them just about everywhere else. And we're borrowing bits from a big old Cadillac. It's a quirky world of car mechanics simulator. Yeah, I'm really, really surprised that this has got so much of the engine. I guess I perhaps shouldn't be with the barn find cars being relatively complete to begin with. We probably won't have like a starter motor or so. Although I said that, and we found a fuel pump in the Delahaye. There will be something, of course, missing. I say these don't come complete with all their parts. I might be wrong, actually. I have never... None of the ones that I've ever got have been complete with all of their parts. However, these, I guess, maybe possible. They certainly are complete in terms of bodywork, or very close to being complete in terms of bodywork. I don't know if there is a percentage chance to find a complete car in a barn. It doesn't have a starter motor. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Unfortunately, with the engine block being buggered from the Shelby, it means I'm going to have to literally pull everything out of this one, because I need the block to start work on. Now it shouldn't... Oh wow, it's actually got an oil pan as well. Yeah, this is, I think, the most complete engine I've ever had in a car. And most of it is in good enough condition to at least attempt a repair of some sort. It's even got an oil filter on it. It's got everything. It's got a fuel filter. These are the normal bits that have gone missing. This was a brilliant buy. This was an absolutely fantastic buy of a vehicle. As a donor car for many other bits and pieces, it's one of the best I think I've ever had. Right, that can come out. We have to lift you up. We have to take out the gearbox and so on. I thought I did a body frame. Maybe I didn't do a body frame repair on this one. It might be just fenders and so on that I need to take off and repair those to get rid of that rust. But yeah, oil filter you can come off, oil pan as well. That means we're going to have a full set of bearings as well as a full set of actually it's relatively shiny in here. Relatively shiny in comparison to the sort of vehicles that I've tended to work on in the past. The sort of vehicles that I've tended to pull apart have not been on the massively shiny side. So yeah, this is a bonus. And yeah, a complete selection of these. I think, did the Delahaye come with most of the bearings? I don't know if I repaired all of them, but I think the Delahaye did, but don't think it came with an oil pan. So progress is being made, and this is also helpful in that we're going to have a spare overhead valve gearbox. I think we do have like clutch and flywheel and all of that stuff. We have a fair few of them hanging around. It's always helpful though to grab another drive shaft. You're always going to need them, and thankfully all of the cars share the same. There's just a generic drive shaft and that's it. So the massive size of the drive shaft in this one, it is the same as well everything else. Again, the quirks of Car Mechanic Simulator. Clutch pressure plate, you will probably be used not in the Daytona. Who knows where you will go. And then we should be good to... Oh, we've got to take the pistons out. Of course we do. Pistons out, and then we will take out the crankshaft. Then we will have a block that should be repairable. If I manage to break this bloody engine block, I'm not going to be happy. Pistons are coming out in just a couple of them are a little bit buggered. Maybe between the two engines I might have enough. I might be able to make up 8 sets of pistons and 8 sets of piston rings. That's all good. Crankshaft, last thing we need out of the engine, and then we will be good. I didn't actually look to see what suspension crossmember was on the Daytona. I don't think it's the same as this one. Well, it could be. I've had a feeling it was C, and I don't know why, but there we go. Right. That's out that we know is a main part we need. It's to the spam clicking section of the video where we try and pray that everything gets repaired. So, as much as I can repair has been kind of repaired. Forgot about that bit. Hold on, not quite everything. And voila. There we go. Just a bloody window. Fair bit of what I can repair has been. The engine block, I didn't actually realise when I pulled it out of that car just how low, I say low on condition, it was only about 26%. So, yeah, it was a little bit close, but that has now since been repaired. Ooh, we don't have any ignition coil. That didn't come out of the Lux, so that might have gone in something else, to be fair. We've got a couple of crankshafts. Do we have a camshaft? We have one working camshaft. Perfect. Yeah, I didn't break too many parts this time around, which is always a nice one. I don't know how many parts were in too bad a condition for me to have a chance of repairing them. That being said, yeah, we did, I think, a fairly decent job of getting stuff repaired. Timing chain can go on there. Timing cover. Yeah, I've got kind of a lot of 2 copies of various parts. It is good. I am going to, after I've done this Daytona build, have a clear out of my inventory, which needs to happen because I've just got I'm carrying around so many bloody parts on me at the moment. We will have to start afresh. Serpentine belt is on, fuel filter is there, water pump pulley is there. Could I? No, don't even say it. Don't even say it. Actually, I tell you, I'm not going to be able, of course I'm not going to be able to complete it fully because I need the coil and the radiator fan, which we don't have. However, we don't have the clips either. We're going to get quite close. No, again, I'm not going to say it because I know if I say it, we're going to find some like large component that is missing from this bloody engine. So let's just keep going. We're on to 4 pistons now, and it looks like we will have enough for all of the other pistons. I think we had we got 3 engine heads are in good condition. That's what I like to see. That side there is done. Can we jump down to the other? No. We're not going to let me click down to there. Part mount. There we go. It's quite difficult to get to the pistons. I mean, I'm building this slightly on the wonk. In fact, I could imagine just how bloody difficult that would be to get the piston in that at that angle. No, I've gone the wrong way again. Yeah, that would not be a fun one to try and get pistons into position at that sort of wonky angle. Not helped by the game often not quite wanting you to click on stuff. We're going to have a bunch of stuff left over, actually, from all of this. We're going to have, is it pistons? We're going to start finding conky ones before we get to piston rings. Yeah, we're going to have three pistons and about 5 piston rings left over. That's bloody good going. And the engine head on this side. Yes, surprising number of repairable parts. But again, I guess that's what you have. Well, we don't have the intake manifold for the 2-car. Of course we don't. We will have exhaust. We have a exhaust manifold. Do we not have... I guess they might have been in too bad a condition. I don't think actually any came with the Shelby, come to think of it. That might explain it. Spark plugs, are we going to have enough for a whole load of you? Yeah, we will have a perfect number of... I say we have a perfect number of spark plugs. The only spark plugs we will have pulled off are everything from the Luxor. So all of these were repaired. It's cool. Did we break any of these? That's the question. Now, of course, we are going to have... a lot, because, well, there's a lot to go in here. We're going to have 16 of the buggers. However, have I managed to repair... I don't remember breaking any. I think I broke a brake disc, but I try and get through them as quick as possible. So some bits certainly did go bang in the repairing table, as they always do. I don't know if it was any of these, because we've got maybe one of each to spare. I say one of each to spare. I got one rocker arm and I got a couple of push rods out of the Shelby engine, but I don't think any of them were in very good condition, so I might not have even had them to play with. Of course, with a 95% chance of repairing stuff... Oh, bugger, that was too low. 95% chance of repairing. If it is repairable, of course, I have huge odds that I will get it fixed, but still, over a couple of hundred parts... you're going to lose 10. So, the amount of bits that go into this vehicle, I think we are going to have enough. In fact, actually, we have 2 spare. I repaired all but... Well, I say I repaired all but one of them. Maybe one of them wasn't even repairable to begin with. So, that's... maybe my mechanicking has finally got to a level that is actually half competent. Yeah, we're going to have repaired all of the rocker arms as well that we could. Repaired. The mechanicking level has got better. I'm actually, not breaking everything, even though I've had, decent percentage chance for a while now. I think this is the first time we've not been buggering everything up. I think the head cover might have been a screw-up by me, but it's a relatively simple thing. Flywheel, we should have... Oh, we only have one of those. I was expecting more. Okay, apparently we don't have flywheels to spare. Clutch plates, we have a spare. Pressure plates, we have a spare. I've tended to keep having one extra one of these over time. Oh, we got plenty of release bearings, though. Perfect. Right, so we need to finish off the engine. Oil filter. Got repaired. We need a... intake manifold. In fact, let's go and... Oh, can you... There we go. Let's go and add these. I'm going to actually... Now I can see what bits I'm going to do. I'm going to try and remember to use the bloody shopping list there. That I like. I do like the shopping list. It's at times a little bit awkward to use when you know that there's bits a lot further down the line that you can't get to a ghost mode point. Then it can be a little bit of a pain in the arse. Do I have... Don't even know if I have... head cover. I do have head cover B. Right. Because, yeah, like, I know that there's not too many parts after these that I need. If it's like you're missing a valve push rod, for example, I know there's going to be bits further along the line that I can't see as a ghost mode yet, that I can't add to a shopping list. This is why I tend not to bother with it a lot of the time. But with this car, because the engine's so bloody complete anyway, I can... yeah, I can kind of use it a little bit more efficiently, I think, anyway. Head cover B, we want, head cover B for the V8 overhead valve, which will be you. We then need an ignition coil. We also need wires, because we won't have ignition coil. So I started looking down at wires because I was talking about it. Ignition coil B, yes, we will need wires, ignition wires for, I assume, V8? There doesn't seem to be a difference between V8 and V8 overhead valve, so we'll get ignition wires for that. We need exhaust manifold, V8 overhead valve. Don't know what we're doing with the actual exhaust for the car. I don't quite know how it works on this one, because it is a lot of the exhaust is kind of bodywork. So I think we should have the exhaust manifolds, and then that will be the vehicle complete in terms of exhaust, because it seems to then just go into the bodywork, like fake, semi-fake exhausts to get it out of the car. So we'll see how that one goes. I don't think I got the Distributor Cap because I thought I'd add it to the list and I hadn't. Well done me. Even when I use the list, I'm still a moron. The list can't solve that, I'm afraid. We will also need, I would imagine, some bits to do with the air filter. I'm not quite sure how the air filter is going on this one, because I don't think I've actually worked on a two carburetor engine before. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I have. Come to think of it, this might be a first. Or maybe I have. I don't know. I might be wrong. But there we go. Add to list, so we do need that. And we need that. Okay, so ignition distributor cap for, actually the generic one is for the V8. Then we need the round air filter base 2-carb. Maybe I must have built one with a 2-carb engine, come to think of it. Maybe it's the single-carb engines that I haven't worked on, actually. Quite possibly, because I've tended to go, of course, for the more, I say sporty, but I've tended to go for, the muscle cars and so on, the ones with the more powerful engines. Yeah, I have done 2-carbs, of course I have. What am I talking about? Yeah, tended to go for the more powerful engines, which will be the 2-carb ones. Yeah, the single carb. I mean, not that it makes a huge amount of difference, let's face it, because it's just a slightly different intake manifold and a slightly different air filter. That's it. That's literally all the difference. But there we go. That looks like that is the engine complete on there, as far as I can tell. So we are going to not click on the engine itself, because that would be stupid. We're going to take the engine from there. Then we are going to put the engine back into the car. Voila! The Shelby has its engine. Perfect. And the Shelby is worth, well, okay, it's still worth 1.5 million, of course, because the engine's worth like 8 grand, which is nothing when you've got a car like this. Now, I did manage to repair, oh, okay, they're really buggered. I think I repaired the bonnet. Yeah, we got the bonnet repaired, and I think I got a couple of bits and pieces fixed on this car. Assembly mode. We didn't have a door to go on. We didn't have a window to go on. We did have those to go in. Did I have a tail light? No, the tail light's too buggered to repair. These are going to cost a lot of money. These are going to cost a lot of money to buy, I suspect. So if I can get any of these repaired, that's very, very helpful. Oh, I wanted to have a look around the other side, because I think I had... did I have that headlight? Yes, I did. Did I have this one? No, I didn't have that one at all. Okay, how much is it now worth? So those few parts added on another 500,000. That's the... Oh, God. I'm going to have a heart attack now. Please tell me I have enough money to actually go and buy these bits. That's kind of a scary prospect. Body shop. Because, of course, Shelby Daytona parts are quite rare. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. They're going to be expensive, but they're not like millions each. They do seem to add on a fair amount of money each. However, yeah, okay. We're good. Not quite having a full-on heart attack just yet with the Daytona. It is looking good. I mean, it's the wrong colours at the moment. It needs to be painted blue. I wonder if it has any liveries for it. Who knows? We're going to turn it into the proper Daytona race cars. That, though, will be something to find out next time. Yeah, plenty of progress made on this this fantastic, fantastic vehicle. That's going to be it from me. However, I shall as ever link all of the mods in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.